Η επόμενη καλεσμένη μας είναι μία superstar, μία Ιταλίδα, Ελληνίδα, ηθοποιός, σκηνοθέτης, filmmaker. Maybe I should do this in English for you to understand, but you already do. So, η επόμενη καλεσμένη μας, λοιπόν, είναι μια γυναίκα με τρομερή καριέρα. Δεν μπορώ να διαλέξω ανάμεσα στις 150 ταινίες της. Θα αναφερθώ, ωστόσο, στο γεγονός ότι έχει τιμηθεί 2 φορές με βραβείο Βόλπη στη Βενετία για την ερμηνεία της. Θα σας έλεγα να ψάξετε και να δείτε, αν δεν έχετε δει, το Ρεσπίρο και το Περαμόρ Βόστρο, που είναι από τις πιο αγαπημένες μου ταινίες της. Η καριέρα της ξεκινάει πολλά χρόνια πριν, το μακρινό, στη δεκαετία του 80, μην πούμε πότε. Την έχετε δει σίγουρα στο Rain Man, πλάι στον Tom Cruise, και πρόσφατα στο πολύ αγαπημένο μας, το Marie Claire The Morning Show, που τώρα έχει και καινούριο κύκλο. Ήταν στο δεύτερο κύκλο, ήταν το κορίτσι, να το πω έτσι, του Steve Carell. Μαζί μας η υπέροχη Valeria Golino. Valeria. Shall we continue in English for everyone? Because we have some
as you wish. I mean, really. I mean, as you wish. Yes, English. Why not?
Της Ελληνικής Δημοκρατίας είπε ελληνικά, οπότε λέω να κάνουμε un'insalata greca.
Yes. Let's say that Italian and Greek are my mother languages, and English is my acquired language.
Yes.
But I will be happy to do it with everything I have. We'll go here and there. We'll go here and there. So.
Okay. Valeria says, let's try it in Greek.
Okay. Of course.
To honor your mother who is here.
Of course.
Να πούμε ότι η μητέρα σου είναι εδώ, μεγάλη μας τιμή και χαρά. Η Βαλέρια, λοιπόν, είναι η κόρη ενός Ιταλού και μιας Ελληνίδας. Μεγάλωσε στη Σικελία, στο Σορέντο, λέω σωστά. Στην Νάπολη. Στην Νάπολη. Και στην Αθήνα, όμως, με πολλές συχνές επισκέψεις και όχι μόνο καλοκαίρια. Οπότε αναρωτιέμαι αν αυτό, η Ιταλική και η Ελληνική κληρονομιά σου, σε διαμόρφωσε και σαν καλλιτέχνη, σαν ηθοποιό πρώτα.
Καλά, νομίζω σίγουρα από πού ερχόμαστε, που έχουμε ζήσει τα παιδικά μας χρόνια, αυτό που έχουν δει τα μάτια μας και έχουν ακούσει τα αυτιά μας, οι γλώσσες, αυτό που κοιτάμε, η ομορφιά που υπάρχει γύρω μας. Γιατί, εντάξει, το λέω ελληνικά, αλλά θα το είχα πει και στα αγγλικά και σε οποιαδήποτε γλώσσα θα μιλούσα. Έχουμε τόση πολύ ομορφιά γύρω μας. Έχουμε τόσο πολύ συνηθίσει και στην Ιταλία και στην Ελλάδα. Είμαστε τόσο συνηθισμένοι στην ομορφιά, γιατί ζούμε μέσα. Όχι μόνο στην ομορφιά, και στο άλλο, και στην ασχήμια. Αλλά και αυτή η ασχήμια είναι ασχήμια del Sud, του Νότου. Είναι ασχήμια του Νότου που δεν είναι πάντα τελείως άσχημη.
Υπάρχει ένα παρελθόν πολύ όμορφο που έχει
ακόμα και η ασχήμια του Νότου είναι ωραία, τουλάχιστον για μένα. Για τα δικά μου μάτια. Ακόμα και όταν οι πόλεις μας είναι έτσι κάπως very all over the place, you know. And I love that.
Ένα μικρό χάος που κουβαλάμε οι Μεσόγειοι.
Αυτό το χάος και η ομορφιά μαζί, που είναι η Ελλάδα και η Ιταλία, σίγουρα με έχουν επηρεάσει. Σίγουρα επηρεάζουν όλους μας. Γιατί έχουμε συνήθεια σε αυτό το πράγμα. Εγώ νομίζω ότι αυτό δεν πάμε να την ψάξουμε. Είναι μέσα μας, τη βλέπουμε, την έχουμε τόσο συνηθίσει που δεν μας ενδιαφέρει. Αυτό, δηλαδή, ο χρόνος που περνάει, αυτά που έχουμε γύρω μας, αυτά που έχουμε κάνει πριν πάρα πολλά χρόνια, αλλά είναι πάνω μας και νομίζω ότι αυτό είναι πολύ ωραίο όταν δεν πρέπει ούτε να πας να την ψάξεις, ότι είναι εκεί, είναι μαζί σου. Και αυτό νομίζω εμένα με κάνει περήφανη, βέβαια. Είμαι περήφανη που είμαι Ιταλοελληνίδα και έτσι, ναι, σίγουρα με έχει επηρεάσει.
Είσαι μια ηθοποιός που έχεις πάρει πολύ γενναίες αποφάσεις κατά καιρούς και όχι πάντα ασφαλείς. Δηλαδή, ενώ μπορούσες να πεις ναι σε μια χολιγουντιανή ταινία, διάλεγες να κάνεις κάτι μικρότερο στην Ελλάδα, με έναν άγνωστο σκηνοθέτη ή στην Ευρώπη. Γενικά, έχεις κάτι που δεν το βλέπουμε συχνά, μια ηθοποιό που έχει κάνει και καριέρα στο Hollywood και καριέρα στο ευρωπαϊκό σινεμά. Θα έλεγες ότι το ευρωπαϊκό σινεμά, γιατί ξέρουμε ότι οι Αμερικάνοι το βλέπουν με δέος, είναι ένα σινεμά που έχει μεγαλύτερο βάθος και ίσως και μεγαλύτερη ψυχή από ότι το αμερικανικό.
Με συγχωρείς, με δέος τι θα πει? Να, αυτό ας πούμε δεν το θυμάμαι.
No, okay.
With
great respect, with awe.
Okay.
Fear. Δέος is also fear. Θαυμασμός και φόβος.
Η ερώτηση ποια ήταν όμως?
Η ερώτηση ήταν, θα έλεγες ότι το ευρωπαϊκό σινεμά έχει περισσότερη ψυχή και περισσότερο βάθος από ότι το σινεμά που βλέπουμε στην άλλη πλευρά του?
Κοίτα, νομίζω ότι οι Αμερικάνοι έχουν κάνει φανταστικό σινεμά. Λιγότερο τα τελευταία χρόνια, κατά τη γνώμη μου. Ακόμα υπάρχουν κάτι καταπληκτικές ταινίες, αλλά πολύ λιγότερες από πριν. Έχουν κάνει κατά βάθος μεγάλο μέρος αυτό που λέμε το σινεμά. Είναι και αμερικάνικο και είναι μερικές φορές φανταστικό. Άρα εγώ δεν έχω... Εμείς οι Ευρωπαίοι κάνουμε φανταστικό σινεμά κι εμείς, άλλου είδους, γιατί έχουμε λιγότερα μέσα και υπάρχει μάλλον περισσότερο... η ιδέα του σινεμά είναι ακόμα σινεμά d'auteur. Του δημιουργού, δηλαδή ο σκηνοθέτης, the point of view of the director is extremely... Θα κάνω αυτό.
Ναι, let's do that. We're gonna
γιατί
jump
έχω
to
συνηθίσει να τα λέω, μπορείτε... Ναι. Άρα, the point of view of the director is still extremely important in Europe. While in America, in the studio system, maybe there is, of course, now with television, I mean, I don't want to be tedious, but with television, the writers are extremely important. The writers is very, very important. The director's point of view, of course, it is, but not as much as in Europe. So we are probably, European movies have a point of view that is much more personal. Okay. So the movies are very personal when they come out, and there it's more an industrial. Not that we try, yeah, we try to be an industry.
We'll do our best,
but it's chaos.
Thank you for stressing out the role, the importance of the director, because this is a question for you. You once said, and then you made it happen, that being an actress is fine, but the one who's making all the decisions was the director. So that's what turned you to directing.
Eventually, yes. Eventually, very late in my career, and I think this has probably to do with everything that we are talking about, I've been listening to. Late in my career, I did become a director. I've been an actress since I am 16, από όταν είμαι 16 χρονών, και τελικά έγινα σκηνοθέτης στα 45.
Which is fine age to start something.
No, it is. I am a young director. I am a, aging actress, but a young director.
Very clever. Κάνει Valeria Golino.
So, yeah. I think it took me a long time. I've been wanting to be a director since always. And an actress. I love my work. I love this. I have a passion for my work. I still do as an actress. And sometimes a loathing also. As Emmanuel was saying, there is moments where, you lose yourself there is a neurosis about our job that is very strong, but also an enchantment, both, So I do love my work as an actress, but it took me a long time to become a director, I think, because I'm a woman, and because it's something that has to do with my own perspective, the perception of myself. Again, as Emmanuel was saying, how did I perceive myself? people were perceiving me fine, and they thought I was a smart little woman and then a good actress, and there was nothing...
Very sexy also. Sometimes it's a bad thing. A very sexy woman.
Well, that sometimes is a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess. Yes, I guess. Well, what you give away of yourself, maybe, you know, but it's not so much of how people perceived me, I realize now, but it's about how I perceived myself. Somebody said before, maybe it's about, όχι, δεν γίνεται, όχι, δεν θα μπορέσω. Δεν θα μπορέσω να το κάνω, όχι.
Γίνεται.
Δεν αισθανόμουν ότι κάπου, ότι δεν είχα το σεβασμό. Ναι, αυτοπεποίθηση στον εαυτό μου και ας είχα ήδη ένα γούστο για το σινεμά, για αυτά. Ήμουν από πολύ καιρό, είχα μεγαλώσει, αλλά κάπου φοβόμουν ότι δεν θα ήμουν αρκετά. Και νομίζω έχει να κάνει με το να είσαι γυναίκα. Είμαι σίγουρη αυτό. Αν και δεν το έλεγα στον εαυτό μου. Δεν πήγα ποτέ μπροστά τον εαυτό μου με φόβο. Αλλά ξέρω ότι είχα φόβο να μην τα καταφέρω, μάλλον. Ναι.
Since you, young director, just started, have you seen for the past 10 years things changing for women director and for women in the film industry?
Well, I do think they have enormously changed. Enormously changed.
So
in the last 10, 15 years, actually.
Didn't help us so much. We are still fighting.
Well, but we are definitely fighting. I mean, I'm not talking about the Me Too now. I'm talking about a lot of things of which Me Too was a part of it, definitely. But it's not necessarily what has made the changes. I think it's a lot of things that slowly, or not that slowly. I have a feeling changes are happening, and are happening not that slowly. They were very, very slow before, for centuries. Now they're not that slow. I think things are happening.
I really hope so, but what happens when a woman sits in the director's chair? Do you think people listen as well, as attentively as they would a man, you know?
Well, it's very interesting because you do have to work much harder to be listened. You do.
To make your voice be heard.
Yeah, you have to, even with your very good collaborators who are great people, and many times are men, sometimes are women, many times are men, particularly with men, as a director, with people that I have total respect for, and that I couldn't do what I do without them. So I do take a lot from them. I am very open to other people's opinions, craft. I know that is my strength. If I had one strength, is to listen and to use other people's talents. And I think a director should do that. And I am very, very careful in doing that because that makes my work better. Now, to be listened to, particularly for somebody who's not aggressive, and where I try to exercise my authority, not in an aggressive way, in an empathic way. So, and in an open way. So that will make it look like you are docile.
Yeah, docile.
Yeah, sometimes I am. I don't mind that, but not when I work. In other πλαίσια, σε άλλα πλαίσια.
Οι τέτοια πλαίσια στο in Honey and Euphoria, so the film directed.
Yes.
A theme is like recurring. A theme is coming up again and again. It has to do with the way one chooses to live or end one's life, right? About death.
Yeah.
And the nobility in death, and nobility in choosing, dignity in choosing your own death. How were you drawn to this very difficult subject of death in society?
Well, I think I was, for different reasons. I was drawn because politically, as a citizen, for example, my first movie was a movie about assisted suicide. It was 14 years ago. In Italy, it's not, of course, legal. So I did a movie about illegal assisted suicide. And it was my first movie. And everybody, I'm talking everybody besides the people who helped me do it, were totally against the idea of doing it for obvious reasons. But the main reason was it's going to be a heavy movie. It's not only thematically very heavy, but they thought it was not going to be commercial enough. Because that's what happens in our industry sometimes is, you know, is it going to be, nobody's going to want to see that movie because, so I really fought for this movie.
Yes,
to be
at the same time, cinema is a welcome to talk about difficult subjects and change these.
Well, probably is the one last thing that cinema has in his, how do you say,
characters.
Το σινεμά ακόμα μπορεί να σε κάνει να αλλάξεις γνώμη. Αυτό είναι πάρα πολύ μεγάλο power. Μπορεί να σε κάνει να αλλάξεις γνώμη απλώς. Είναι κάτι που σήμερα είναι πολύ δύσκολο να αλλάξεις γνώμη, γιατί πηγαίνουμε εκεί που ξέρουμε ότι απονετισίζεται οι γνώμες. Η γνώμη μας είναι reinforced από αυτό που βλέπουμε και όλοι οι άλλοι που δεν έχουν τη γνώμη μας δεν είναι. Αυτό είναι λίγο, ξέρεις, έχει κάνει it has made society the idea of this, you know, hating something or loving something, and that's the way it is. And dissent, it's dissent, can you say, πώς το λένε dissent στα ελληνικά?
Διαδράψη.
Το να,
Λόγω στη φράση να μεταδώσει.
δηλαδή όχι, να μην, not to agree. Διότι η διαφωνία σήμερα είναι πάρα πολύ δύσκολο. Να έχεις διαφωνία και να μπορείς να του πεις, μπορείς να σε κάνουν, να σε crash. Τώρα θα τα κάνω όλα μαζί. Ιταλο, Σπάγκλισ, ξέρεις, σκεφτόμουν ότι αυτά που είναι, εγώ είμαι τώρα σαν ελαφρύ διάλειμμα. Γιατί μετά από αυτά που ακούσαμε, μετά από την President, μετά από την Εμμανουέλ, τα θέματα ήταν τόσο που τώρα εγώ απλώς μπορώ να κάνω έτσι λίγο να παίζουμε μαζί.
We can be the comic relief.
Ναι, I am the comic relief right now, in a way. I try to be entertaining, really.
We are completely out of script. I'm going to do what Craig Ferguson does in the late night show.
Yeah, I love the late night.
Tears up his papers and he throws them
maybe
in the
in a little
air.
while.
And he also does that. I cannot right now,
about,
but it can be arranged. Nevertheless, yes.
No. So I think that's what cinema does, and that's what it still attracts me to cinema, and what the only way for me to be an activist somehow is through what I do.
It's your kind of activism,
yes.
Cinema, filmmaking.
And also I do think that death, dramaturgically, is still a very, very powerful subject, because it is a taboo, because death has become more and more something of not to think about, or to take out of our vision, it's something that we're trying to, you know, prolong life. We all do. We all want to be alive for the longest possible, and that's normal. But our relationship with death has changed a lot. Before, death was part of our normal life, and our death and the people we loved was all part of a, you know, natural way of living it. And now it's less and less. Less and less talked about. I mean, we see death everywhere in cinema. We see violent death everywhere. It's violence. We're used to it. We're used to look at it and to see people die all the time in a spectacular way, where we, you know. But if we have to be talking simply about death, just about the normality of death, that's for us, it's a taboo.
Yeah, it's
So-
also very personal and tender.
Very personal,
But
absolutely.
interviewing actors over the years, I often heard them say that they would love, it's one of their dreams to film a death scene. Have you filmed a death scene and did you enjoy it?
I filmed many death scenes. Yes, in the years I have. Some of them were very good. Some of them so-so. You know, it's not easy. It's not easy, but yes, I have.
In both Euphoria, but also in the other film, in Daughter of Mine,
Yes.
you talked about family bonds and you showed a relationship between the fact that motherhood can be at the same time very contradictory, very, what's the word, ambiguous, like γεμάτη αντιφάσεις.
Yes,
Το να είσαι
κατάλαβα.
μητέρα είναι γεμάτο αντιφάσεις.
Βεβαίως.
What drew you to that kind of theme?
Well, because again, motherhood is full of like the idea of motherhood. I am not a mother, but motherhood is the idea of being a mother is full of cliché notions, very of what is right and what is wrong, and what is good, what is a good mother, what is a bad mother, how a woman should feel, what makes you a nurturing mother or not, what is it to be a bad mother. All that has been told many times, and sometimes extremely well. But in the common view, and particularly television and sentimentality and rhetorics about all these themes that are extremely ethical themes have been treated very often as moralistic, which is totally different realm. Ethics and morality are two different things, and moralism is again another. And so every time I can, ask questions, I don't, as a director and as an actress, I don't like answers. I don't like to say to people, that's the way you should feel, and that's, again, we go back to the same thing I was saying before, but asking the question, become, in wonder of something, or in asking, and that's very interesting to me. That's very, it's a, πάω προς αυτό. Ερώτηση, την ερώτηση.
You make your audience think, because they have to answer.
Yes, exactly. Yes, thank you.
Okay, I have so many things to ask, and I'm looking at the clock, and I'm freaking out. But
Don't freak out.
one of the, this is a line from an interview, and it's very famous, and I can't, forget it and not mention it, because you have said, I'm not a hater of men, I'm a lover of men. And the question is, how do you balance
less and
strength?
less.
Please elaborate. Please tell us more.
Well, first of all, yes, I have said that,
You have
and
said
I will
that in a
actually
Guardian interview.
No, and I will actually say it again. I do,
Yeah.
of course.
Me too.
I am not a hater of men, that's for sure. And I have been a lover of men, and I still have a lot of tenderness. But to tell you the truth, which is something when I was younger I would have never thought, I would say, but because I was so attracted by the masculine energy and spirit and intelligence when I was young, I was very attracted to that. And so now, finding myself at my age, at almost 60 years old, saying quite almost the opposite, it's the truth is that I am more and more and more naturally interested in women. All the relationships of the last years of my life have become more and more about really close relationships, whether they're intellectual, emotional, friendship relationship with women, because the most interesting people I've met in the last years are women. So the thing is, I still love men, of course, and if I see a handsome man, I will turn around. And I do, but I am getting more very very interested in the female relationship and in what we have to say, how we say it, and what things can happen in that.
I wasn't going to go there.
Oh, yes, sorry.
But you mentioned age, and since you mentioned age, do you think that ageism is harder on famous women than the local common people who are not in the spotlight? Local or international? No. The common people who are not in the spotlight.
Just Greeks?
No, no.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
That's why I said international. I corrected.
Yes. No, the thing is, age, I think it's, it is a very, very delicate problem for every human being, everybody, men and women. It's just this, thing that happens, and things change and keep changing and keep changing, and you see your body changing, but your spirit is still someone in your youth, but then everything is...
some of us are always teenagers.
I say sometimes, I will die a young girl, I'll be still, hopefully, in my old age, but I think there is that, that scollamento, you see, that distance between what happens to you physically and what you feel
inside.
And there is something that the more you're growing up and you're aging, you find yourself. Mm-hmm. The more you find yourself, but then there is something that is leaving you, which is maybe strength, which is maybe beauty. So this dichotomy, of course, is something that is very delicate to live through. Now, for people who do our jobs, is something that can be extremely problematic. At the same time, I have to say two things in regards that I have fear of aging. Yes, I do. In life, in my job, in my work as an interpreter, I am much more fearless now that I am not as young, and I'm not, as you said before, as sexy and as desirable, nothing of all of that. But to me, as an actress, has made me more free and more, I think, if I may say to myself, more powerful now than when I was 25 or 30. By powerful, I mean precise in what I want to do, because I don't care.
Yes.
I don't care. I don't need, Yes, in life I'm afraid. In life I do want to be desirable. Yes, of course, I do. But when I play roles, I don't care anymore. Before I was, now I don't care. I'm like this, I'm like this. If the role needs that, then that's perfect, that's fine. I have much less fear now than when I was young.
You said if the role needs that. Let's talk about the film we're hoping to see in like 2 months' time in Greece, 40.
40. What
does your role demand for 40? What happens there?
Yeah, no, in 40 is a movie that was in a competition in Cannes last year.
By Mario.
But Mario Martone, who's a very, very good Italian director, and it's me. And it's me playing this writer, this Italian writer called Goliarda Sapienza,
Amazing.
Who is a writer who did. I have this little anecdote to say if you have the patience.
Please.
The very funny thing that happened to me and to Goliarda Sapienza, who is dead, is not with us anymore. She was a writer who wrote, between other books, The Art of Joy. It's called The Art of Joy, which is quite like a cult masterpiece. She's been considered a great artist after her death. And I did, as a director, a movie long, 6 hours, for television, who eventually came out in the cinema before coming out in television. It went to Cannes as well, and then went to cinema. And it was a huge success for me, for my, and it's beautiful, by the way. Can I tell you, it's a very good movie, even if it was conceived as a series. So for 5 years of my life, I devoted myself to this story of Goliarda Sapienza, The Art of Joy, who now it's going to come out in France. In a month it's going to finally come out in France. I'm very glad. And so after I finished, this director, after I thought like her, I tried to put myself into what she was doing, what she was thinking in her book, and just intellectually being her, this director asked me to be her in a movie. So after thinking like her, I became her in a movie. So it's like a persecution, really. So it's like I keep being her. This lady is going to be from the heavens going, enough already. Enough, Valeria, get out. You know, it's like, αυτό έγινε και έκανα αυτή την κυρία. Έπαιξα αυτή την κυρία, ναι.
Γιατί που είχες αφοσιωθεί στη δουλειά της όλο αυτό το
μετά
καιρό.
Που είχα αφοσιωθεί για τόσα χρόνια, ναι. Και είμαι με 2 καταπληκτικές, πανέμορφες κούκλες, 2 πανέμορφες ηθοποιός, στα 30 χρονών, και είμαστε εμείς οι 3. Είμαστε εγώ και αυτές οι 2 κοπέλες, ειδικά έχω μία ιστορία με μία από αυτές που είναι η Ματίλντα Ντε Άντζελης, που είναι μια φανταστική κουκλάρα και καταπληκτική ηθοποιός. Και ήταν πολύ ενδιαφέρον ταινία και ελπίζω να βγει στην Ελλάδα, τέλος πάντων.
Θα βγει. Τελείωσε ο χρόνος μας, αλλά θα τελειώσουμε...
Αλλά δεν θα φύγω εγώ.
Όχι.
Εγώ θα μείνω εδώ. Τώρα θα μιλήσω ακόμα. Όχι, ξέρω.
Υπάρχει μια ερώτηση, ξανά με αφορμή ένα ρόλο πολύ αγαπημένο μου, στο Περαμορβόστρο η Άννα.
Ναι.
Είναι μια φανταστική ηρωίδα που καταπιέζεται όλη της τη ζωή, καταπιέζεται τόσο πολύ που φτάνει να έχει παραισθήσεις. Θυσιάζεται, είναι Περβόστρο αμόρε, θυσιάζεται για την αγάπη ουσιαστικά,
ναι,
για τη φροντίδα των παιδιών της και των άλλων. Αυτή η ηρωίδα λοιπόν κάποια στιγμή λέει «Μια ζωή ήμουν ήσυχη». Σταβοτζίτα. Ώρα φαρό ρουμόρε.
Ναι.
Τώρα λοιπόν θα κάνω χαμό, θα κάνω φασαρία.
Τώρα χαμός.
Και θέλω να ρωτήσω τη Βαλέρια και να σας στείλω όλες σε lunch break μετά, να μας πει γιατί αξίζει κανείς να κάνει φασαρία σήμερα.
Κοίτα, η φασαρία, πάντα από τη φασαρία βγαίνει κάτι. Δηλαδή πρέπει να κάνουμε κάποια φασαρία για να αλλάξουν τα πράγματα. Αλλιώς, αν είμαστε απλώς και υπακούμε, εγώ δεν είμαι particularly rebellious. Δηλαδή, γιατί όταν είσαι rebellious, πώς το λένε ελληνικά, σε παρακαλώ.
Επαναστάτης.
Πρέπει να ζεις with the consequences. Πρέπει να είσαι πραγματικά, δηλαδή, δεν είναι rebellious, δεν είναι από τον καναπέ σου. Ακριβώς. Και εγώ είμαι μέσα στο σύστημα. Και εγώ κάνω αυτά τα πράγματα που μπορώ να κάνω μέσα στο σύστημα και αν είναι, θα πω τα πραγματάκια μου μέσα στο σύστημα.
Από την καρέκλα του σκηνοθέτη.
Ναι, ακριβώς. Αλλά νομίζω ότι αυτή τη στιγμή που όλα πάνε, δηλαδή όπως πάνε, τώρα χωρίς να αρχίζουμε και έχουμε... νομίζω ότι λίγη φασαρία χρειάζεται, δηλαδή να ξυπνήσουμε, να πούμε... δεν θα πει ότι θα αλλάξουμε το ζόρι τα πράγματα, αλλά είναι ο μόνος τρόπος για, αν είναι να αλλάξουν, να γίνει.
Να κάνουμε κάτι.
Ναι.
Να διαλέξουμε ωραίες ιστορίες
φασαρίες.
Και να τις δείξουμε στο σινεμά.
Φασαρίες. Είχαμε πει the comic relief. Thank you. Ευχαριστώ πολύ.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ. Lunch break.